Welcome to Planted, Finding Your Roots in STEM Careers. Journey with us as we navigate the winding path into plant-related careers with professionals who have taken root or are still branching out. I'm Megan Wiesbrook.
And I'm Jessica Turner-Scoff.
In this season of Planted, we are exploring the fields of opportunity associated with plant-focused STEM careers. That's right, all the cool industries and places you can work with plants.
And this is a great first episode for season 3. While we're going to be doing in-depth interviews throughout the season with people with all different types of careers, from landscape architecture to agriculture to academia. But today we are going to be providing a bird's eye view on, well, I guess all the fields.
We are so excited to introduce you to our guest for this episode, Jazmin Albarran, the Executive Director of Seed Your Future. Seed Your Future is a national movement to promote horticulture and inspire people to pursue careers with plants. They envision a world where everybody understands and values the importance of plants and the people who work in art, science, technology, and the business of horticulture. Thank you so much for being here with us, Jazmin.
Thank you for having me and giving me and Seed Your Future the opportunity to talk about careers in horticulture.
Yes, thank you so much, Jazmin. Now, we want to give our listeners an opportunity to get to know you. So before we jump into the interview itself, I have a list of a few things that kind of seem like they don't belong together, but you are the link between these 3 ideas. So can we talk about how your path connects Mexico, faith, and travel?
So those 3 things are a big part of who I am. I was born in Mexico City, but grew up in the States. My family came over when I was a little girl. All of my schooling was done here. My parents were very intentional about keeping me, my brother and I, connected to culture and family. Most of our family is still in Mexico, so we often travel there for family events and Christmas. My faith has been one of the most important influences in my life. From my friendships, my career path, or buying a home, I have seen how things fall in place that are really beyond us. Faith looks different for everyone. And for me, a response to a prayer has come through a song, a friend, or a scripture. Whenever I need to make a decision, I pray before moving forward or not. Faith is not easy, especially when you want something now and you want it your way. But when I listen, it's been really the best outcome for me. And traveling, I love travel. When I was a kid, we always knew that summer meant traveling somewhere with our parents. My dad was the person that instilled the love of travel for me. Once I got older and began traveling abroad, I developed an even greater passion for it. I have 3 more continents on my bucket list. I'm excited to get those done.
I'm just curious, I have to ask, what are your 3 remaining continents that you still have on your list?
South America, Antarctica, and Australia. And I already have a trip to Colombia next year. A friend is getting married. So that's check, one more.
That's so exciting.
It is.
We are so excited to talk to you about your illustrious career, possibly some of your travel, and all that gets to go into your current role as executive director, as well as the opportunities for working with plants. So why don't we get started?
Now, this is a tough question, so we're leading with the toughie. But if you had to describe what you do in a sentence, what would it be?
So I've spent over 20 years providing communities with information and resources to influence the following generations. People don't know what they don't know, but if we give them resources and tools, they can improve their well-being. I've always wanted to bring information to parents and students to make decisions that will positively impact their communication skills, finances, education, or mental health. In this role, my focus is on workforce development.
I love the fact that, your career is kind of set up like just investments, it's investing in the future in all these different ways. I mean, hearing about your career and knowing that, you've worked with summer camps, you've worked for raising awareness for domestic violence, and now plants is just so cool.
So I know previous guests that we've had on Planted have talked about their jobs in horticulture, in research, in academia. And this season, we're going to be talking about a lot of different types of industries and places where you can work. But you have a really unique perspective on, the plant industry. And we've defined that a lot of different ways. But most people don't realize all the different ways that you can work with plants, both directly in direct service or directly with plants or indirectly. So can you talk a little bit about what types of positions are out there?
Right. Like you said, most people think about careers in horticulture. They think about the farmer in overalls, landscaping, and the person cutting their grass, all equally important, but there is so much more. On our website, we list 100 plus career profiles. Within horticulture, you have the careers working directly with the plants, but also those along the supply chain. There are careers related to soil, integrated pest management, the plant containers, and transportation. Not to mention HR, accounting, marketing, graphic design, government relations, and business development. So you can see there is a wide range of things you can do. The listeners can visit our website to learn more about that vast opportunities available. We want to inform everyone that you can find the right career for you here. I was a panelist at the Longwood Gardens 2022 Earth Day event, where a high school student asked if he wanted to be in marketing, what could he do? I reminded him that every business in horticulture, including Longwood Gardens, needed marketers to sell their plants, get folks to attend the gardens, and share the value of the industry on social media. As an industry, we have to do better about providing examples so people can see themselves in the industry. And I think that will go a long way in people finding the right path, the right plant job for them in horticulture.
And just a reminder to our listeners, we will be linking the resources Jazmin's talking about, like the career profiles, in our bonus content. So be sure to check that out. And I love what you're saying because, at the Morton Arboretum, we are a outdoor living tree museum, and museums need graphic designers. We need people in the business office. It's such an amazing opportunity to be able to work at a place that's beautiful. People visit for fun. And also you can have like a really great job. So it's really exciting stuff. And I'm really glad that you're sharing the good word. Now, in Seed Your Future, you're connected to the biggest names in the industry. You're really getting to see a lot of the ins and outs. So I was hoping you could maybe talk about what are some of the more creative ways that you can work with that intersection of STEM and plants.
I've been very impressed with the amount of technology in the industry. Nurseries can turn on lights or adjust humidity levels from an iPad anywhere on site. Farmers are using technology to determine the amount of water needed to reduce water waste, helping with sustainability. If you want to have a career that impacts the environment, horticulture is it. With my background in mental health, I was delighted to learn about horticulture therapy. I had no idea that was a thing. Here, a counselor is working with their patients in outdoor settings, like in a garden or walking through nature. Plants and flowers truly impact our mental, physical, and emotional health. So there's a wide range of things that can be done in the industry.
You've been executive director at Seed Your Future for a while now. Can you tell our listeners what your job is like and what it is specifically you do as an executive director of a nonprofit?
As the director of Seed Your Future, I'm responsible for setting the direction, determining the best target audience for our mission, finding partners that can uplift our resources, the finances, so a lot of fundraising to sustain resources and grow them. It's a lot of responsibility, but very rewarding. As the executive director of Seed Your Future, I am leading the creation of pathways that students and job seekers can access to learn about careers in horticulture. Over the last year, I've been evaluating what has already been created to determine what can come next, like our job board aggregator, to help job seekers link to job openings from our career profiles on the website. This year, we're conducting an industry salary survey to show that there are high-paying jobs in the industry. And next year, we're going to do an intern survey. No 2 days are alike, and I do quite a bit of traveling to speak at conferences, and not to mention that I get to go to gardens and events like the Philadelphia Flower Show for work.
That certainly sounds like a lot of fun. And I know you've talked a little bit about some of the cool ways or, surprising ways that technology is used in the industry, and some things that obviously, are important to you around horticulture therapy and things of that nature. But what inspired you, I guess, to apply for your current position? What was it about it when you read it that you were like, yes, sign me up. This is what I want to do. So kind of talk us through how you made that decision to apply for your current position.
Wow, I love plants and flowers. I would have never seen myself in the horticulture industry. Like many others, I didn't know there was something I could do with my background. The previous executive director, Susan Yoder, asked me to consider applying for the position as she would be retiring, which speaks to the value of networking and always working hard at whatever you are doing. You never know who will remember you or recommend you for a position. I encourage young people and your listeners to volunteer, find ways to get involved with organizations in their communities. To Susan, I said, "Are you sure I'm the right fit? I'm not good with plants. My aloe is dying." She said, "The industry will teach you about plants. You have that youth development, outreach experience, workforce development, and business acumen that will really take Seed Your Future to the next level of growth." And I thought about it. And since I truly believe plants and flowers impact our mental, physical, and emotional health, this career move was still very much so in line with my career path of positively impacting young people and communities.
Susan Yoder's great. So I completely resonate. I know that's one theme that Megan and I consistently see throughout every single season, almost every single episode. Build your networks, do the best job you can in every job you're in. You never know what opportunities will come from that. And so, build those relationships, establish them. That is so crucial for your career. Switching gears a little bit, what do you think is the most surprising or significant thing that you've learned about careers working with plants?
So there's been a few. The first one, I have not met a friendlier group of professionals. It's scary how nice people are. It's been such a pleasure to be a part of it. When I first joined Seed Your Future, I thought people were being nice just because I was new. And here I am a year later, and everyone is just as nice and supportive. People have gone out of their way to give me industry crash courses. Another thing I've been really impressed with is the level of satisfaction in this industry. It's outstanding. It's hard work, but everyone loves what they are doing and want to share that knowledge with anyone that will listen. Even competitors will collaborate to help the industry grow. The third thing, for me, it just makes no sense that more people aren't aware of the industry, but I get it because I didn't know either. The public is missing out on careers in horticulture, agriculture, and floriculture, where you can work at a museum, like you mentioned earlier, Jessica, with robotics, habitat restoration, or plant breeding. It took a pandemic for people to reevaluate their work-life balance. Working with these beautiful live products or in the outdoors is rejuvenating. We want more people to experience all that horticulture has to offer.
Jazmin, I totally resonate with you kind of talking that last point that you made about how, so many people don't know about the really cool and interesting parts of horticulture and plants. I mean, it's kind of the part of the inspiration behind this podcast, but there are so many cool places and things to do. And it kind of comes back to the fact that plants are all around us, and we oftentimes so many people just completely ignore them. And then when you start to see them, you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool world that I was here this whole time. So it's just, I completely resonate with that last piece that you were saying. And it's so exciting to talk with more people who, we can bring some of these really unique and diverse career opportunities. Like we're going to be talking with a plant breeder this season on Planted. So, it's just, I love that last point that you made. I'm a little bit curious. I mean, I know we talked about, maybe why you initially, what got you into your current role a little bit and kind of what drove you to apply. But can you talk a little bit about how your career progressed? What were some, decisions that you had to make at different points in time to kind of choose the right path or figure out what the next, part of your career path was going to be? Talk us through your background pre Seed Your Future, so to speak.
Yeah, so my career has always been focused on youth and families. I have provided resources from different sectors, but increasing my reach was always my goal. I started as a bilingual counselor working with youth in the juvenile justice system in Dallas, Texas. I was promoted to lead a bilingual team that relocated me to Northern Virginia, and I've been here now 12 years. From there, I made a shift to doing outreach in the domestic violence field, serving DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And after 11 years of mental health crisis intervention, I needed a break, but still wanted to continue serving people and wanted to serve more people. So then I went on to the field of summer camp, overseeing operations on the East Coast to now a national scope with Seed Your Future. Many of the decisions along the way have been around how to reach the most amount of people possible. What type of information do they need? So not what I think they need, but what do they truly need to grow? And how does that information need to be packaged so that it's helpful?
I'm just going to jump in right now and say, yes, it's all about knowing your audience and tailoring your message to your audience. That's science communication, or just communication 101. So very excited. Thank you for that point.
So now we're going to tailor this next part, or these next series of questions, to our audience as well. So there's another little segue in there. Part of our Planted podcast audience are educators. We share lesson plans and resources that align to each episode content with them. And so we oftentimes share our guest profile with educators and say, all right, if you got a chance to sit down with Jazmin and ask her questions based on her background and her role, what is it that you would want to ask her? So these next couple of questions come directly from our Planted podcast audience.
Jazmin, what have you learned from switching industries? What do you think that you've learned along the way that's really helped you in your current role?
So I've learned that outreach is outreach, right? But you have to know your audience to determine the best way to get them the information. It's been fun and challenging. Being a part of different industries has given me skills that I can use and take anywhere I go. In my previous work, I had to learn to give myself structure and establish processes to ensure that our work had metrics, that we could track the progress or lack of, and having meaningful work for volunteers. I'm using all of those skills at Seed Your Future now.
I know earlier, one of the pieces that we connected with you was travel, as well as family, and just throughout Mexico City. And throughout this conversation, you've talked a lot about, different parts of your career and different fields that you've worked, but also them different places in the United States that you've worked and also traveled to. So can you talk a little bit about what it's been like to live in so many different parts of the United States?
So it's pushed me to grow personally and professionally. It's been very informative. When you go, you get different experiences and you get to see the different ways of living and thinking, which can then influence where you really want to end up. As a child, you don't have an option, but as an adult, you can explore states that have different weather, different foods and cultures. For my work with Seed Your Future, it's been fun to learn what type of plants will grow in one state that is hot and humid versus cold or dry. And at some point, I would like to live abroad as well.
Absolutely. Traveling and living in new states, it can be such a great cultural experience. So that really resonates with me. Now, I know that I'm somebody who for my job, I get to work with a lot of different kids and youth. And so I'm very interested in this next question because I know that there's certain questions that I always get. But what is the most common question that you get from students about jobs or working in the horticulture field?
So the top three that I get is, what kind of major do I need for a particular career and courses associated with that career? For those questions, I like to connect students to a professional in the field or one of our college professors that we work with. Another question is, do you have to have a PhD to find a job within horticulture? And the answer is no. There are jobs that don't require higher education, and there are positions that do. That's the benefit of this industry. You can find something wherever you are in your career, and then you can grow within the field. And another question that I get is, can they find paid internships? The industry has a mix of paid and unpaid internships, but many are making a shift towards paying as they understand the cost of living is increasing. I direct students to our website to learn more about industry internships, as we do list many on the website.
I think those are I'm really glad that you answered those questions, because those are questions that we often hear when we work with youth, especially around careers and, in the variety of different fields of this industry. So thank you for shedding some additional light on and probably answering sometimes maybe even better than Jessica and I can. But I know we also talk about, or it often comes up as a theme in a lot of our episodes around different soft skills or different ways to kind of like, what are some other things to make, if you want to work with plants or in horticulture, but you're not totally sure like which position you exactly want. And so you want to make yourself marketable to kind of, be marketable across fields. What advice do you have for somebody who maybe isn't super sure what they want to do? And so they want to make sure that they're marketable across different fields or job opportunities.
I've always done more than what my job description detailed. I signed up for projects, partner campaigns, helped others within my organization as needed. While it's more work that you're not necessarily getting paid for, the tangible skills that you gain and the connection that you make are going to be priceless. I was careful about not taking on more than I could handle, but always learning and challenging myself to grow has helped me move from one industry to another and to be successful in all of them. The other thing I've done is taking steps to grow in areas that I'm not as strong in by finding tutorials to get better. It's okay, right? We're not great at everything, and you don't need to be an expert, but making the time to enhance those skills will definitely benefit you.
Throughout this interview, I know you've mentioned a lot of different resources that Seed Your Future provides, and one of our educators was hoping that you could kind of outline the resources that are available to someone who is interested in a career working with plants. What is the wide array that Seed Your Future provides?
Seed Your Future has a number of free resources for students, teachers, parents, and youth leaders. We have a plant power quiz that anyone can take. I've heard adults and students take it to find jobs based on their interest. We have a list of career profiles that provide salary information and link to current job openings, industry scholarships and internships, an interactive map that shows where the 2- and 4-year college and universities with plant science degrees are located. We have a YouTube channel with videos that highlight the power of plants in different careers and has DIY activities. We have an annual national contest for middle schoolers called the Plant Mashup. Students take 2 plants based on their properties to create a hybrid plant that will solve an issue in their own community. We have digital games and then also plant science lessons. And again, all of this is free for anyone to use. And so we are creating things that we want everyone to take advantage of.
I will say I am super excited to link these in our bonus content for our listeners. I've used the one of the DIY activities with my daughter to make like different dyes and then tie-dye t-shirts using like beets and spinach, and there was a couple other. It was super fun. But so there's definitely like a range of activities for all ages. So I'm so excited to include that in our bonus content.
Now, do you have pictures of your creation?
I think so. We definitely have pictures of the process. I'm pretty sure we'll put that in the
bonus content.
Fair enough. Jazmin, we have one last question for you. It's a tough one, but we started this interview with a tough question. We'll end it with a tough one as well. This is one, though, that we do ask all of our guests. But can you tell us, what is your favorite plant?
It's definitely a hard question. It's hard to pick one plant because there are so many beautiful options. But since I do not have a green thumb, I found that the peace lily has been my saving grace. She tells me when she's thirsty, so I don't have to guess. The minute her leaves start to droop, I give her water, and shortly after that, she's really happy. And it's cool to see the difference, the movement in the leaves, like when there's droopy versus when she's really, really happy. So I think I finally found a plant that I can't kill. So that's exciting.
Peace lilies are great. I know that I call mine very dramatic because of just like it's fainting when it needs water. It's a great plant to own. I highly recommend it. Well, Jazmin, it's been so great having you here. Thank you so much for taking your time. I completely agree with you that this is an incredible industry to work in, and you get to work in amazing places and work with the nicest people. So it was really cool being able to highlight all of the different opportunities that are out there. And we encourage all of our listeners to go and check out the bonus content, check out Seed Your Future, take the Plant Power quiz, and really see, what would work for you. This episode of Planted, Finding Your Roots in STEM Careers was made possible by the Morton Arboretum and the Multimedia Services at College of DuPage. Check out additional resources and bonus content at www.mortonarb.org/planted podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, and share. This is Jessica Turner-Scoff.
And Megan Wiesbrook.
And we hope you'll continue to join us as we journey into STEM careers.